Last week was a pretty crazy one for everyone involved with Birmingham City Football Club. Now, I've waited a little bit for the dust to settle, for statements to come out, and international breaks are normally boring, but this one has been pretty interesting for the Blues. So, I'm going to talk about the management situation, John Eustace out, Wayne Rooney in, and I'm going to give my opinions on it, whether I think it's the right decision, and whether I think we will now go on and progress. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So we start off talking about the departed. John Eustace has gone, he's been relieved of his duties, and my first initial reaction was I was pretty sad for him because I think he's done a very good job. He's definitely picked the club up from a very poor position to looking quite a bit better. We did have a few poor runs last season, but that's not really his fault. We didn't have a great squad, and now that we've got a decent squad, he's actually got us in 6th place. However, the counter argument to that is that we are only 3 points off 15th, so we've only played 11 fixtures, one more fixture and we could be down in 12th, something along those lines. So maybe the fixtures have fallen well for him, but for me, I do kind of feel like he just found his perfect attack, which is the front four of Miyoshi, Bakuna, Stansfield up top, and Dembele, who just came back from injury as well on the other wing. So he'd found it, and now he's gone. We'd won 2 in a row, scoring 7 at home, and he's gone. I am still a bit devastated for him. He has came out in a statement and said he wants to thank Craig Gardner and thank all the fans for constantly being behind the team. He says that he's picked us up and left us in what he believes is a better position, which I totally agree with, and he wishes the club all the best in the future. Now, a big element of this for me is that John Eustace brought the emotional side back to the club. The fans were very disjointed from the club, but he brought the fans back on side. He connected the fans with the club in a way that I haven't seen since probably Gary Monk, and everyone now is buzzing about Blues. But that is down to his work and him getting the fans back on side. I think that also comes with the owners coming in. So they will initially link the owners coming in with Eustace being our manager. So that obviously helps Eustace on his way to achieving that goal. But I do think he played a massive part in getting everyone back on side. And finally, to close out, I just want to thank John Eustace for all the brilliant work he did. I think 90% of the Blues fans would agree with me that he will be missed, and we're very happy with the work he done, and just owe him a lot because he really did turn us around, got the fans back in, and the results were good, especially this season. So that's it for John Eustace. Now that he has departed, it's a shame, but we must move on. Thank you, John, for everything. But we're going to move on to our new manager. And that manager is obviously Wayne Rooney. Now he comes in bringing in some very big names. Ashley Cole and John O'Shea coming in as the coaching staff. I think it's going to be interesting to see how they can develop some of our players, because these are players that played at the top of the game. So that should help a lot of our players to really start developing, especially some of the young players, strikers like Junior Dixon and Jay Stansfield. I think Stansfield will be brilliant under Rooney. Then Longello at left back under Cole, I can see him pushing on strides as well as Buchanan. So I think there's some good appointments in there. You look at Rooney, and the whole point of it was that he is a global name. It's massive brand exposure, and it really gets people talking about Birmingham City. I think that will work, but I'm not sure whether that's going to bring results. But it will definitely bring revenue, which is what the board were looking for, because the more revenue we make, the more we can invest in things, and the more players we can buy in the transfer window. So that really helps us out on that front. Going on to Rooney's managerial record, at Derby, he obviously got relegated. DC United didn't really do too much with them, but the one thing I will say about both of those, Derby, 21 points deducted, didn't stand a chance of staying up, and in that season, without the deduction, they'd have been 8 points ahead of us. So it was pretty good from Rooney there, even though they did fall at the last hurdle, but they were never going to stay up in realistically. And then DC United, they were never really going to get anywhere. They didn't have a great squad, so you can't really judge him on that. I think this is a massive move for his career, because he really needs to do well here if he wants to push on and get a Premier League job if he can't get us there. And I think he's got all the resources he needs. He's got a pretty good squad there, obviously sitting 6th in the Championship, and there's some good young players to develop as well at Blues, and he's also got the backing of the owners. So this is a situation he's never really been in before, but it is a brilliant opportunity for him to really grow as a manager and push on. So I'm excited to see how Rooney gets on. He's got a tough first fixture away at Middlesbrough, which is Michael Carrick, and then Hull, which is Liam Rosenior. So two faces he will recognise very well. I'm hoping he obviously gets off to a good start, but it will be tough. And yeah, that's all on Rooney. We are going to speak about whether we think he will succeed. And while I think that Rooney could have a tough start with those two fixtures especially, but his first 5 are pretty tough, then I do believe he will come good. Now obviously Eustace, I think he would have had a good season as well. I think he would have got us into the top half, definitely, but top 10 I could see happening. Rooney, it's interesting because I think if he's in and around the playoffs by January, the owners have basically said they don't have much to spend within FFP, but I think they will throw every penny they've got at it within budget to kind of push on and try and get us into a playoff spot. Whether it works, I don't know, but we'll have to see if we can get there first. Very disappointed that Eustace has gone, but looking on it now, we've got to move on. Is Rooney the man to take us forward? I think he deserves a good opportunity at a club that's going to back him, and I do think that with his top level playing, and Ashley Cole and John O'Shea as well playing at the top level, that this could be a very, very exciting part of the project. Now obviously if Rooney fails, we'll get rid of him and bring someone else in that we think will succeed, but if he succeeds, then we could be looking at Premier League football within the next 3 years, which is ultimately the goal. He's been given a 3.5-year contract, so they are hoping that come the 3rd year we've moved up into the Premier League, and that we can build on from there, give him another contract whether he'd want to stay. But I do think that Rooney will do a good job here. I think a lot of people have slated him for his previous managerial positions, and I haven't really seen many people bring up the fact that they were awful situations to be in. He didn't have anything to work with. Derby, he had about 14 players. A lot of them were youth players, and then some very old players like Curtis Davis playing there. So it was a very tough situation. And this is his first shot in English football to really show what he's made of. So I'm very excited for the future under Rooney. Hopefully he does a very good job. But that's what I think. I think he will succeed. So let me know down in the comments. Do you think Rooney will succeed? Are there any other points that you think I've missed that you'd like to bring up? And I will give my replies to them in the comments. Hopefully he does do well. Make sure to like and subscribe, and up the Blues.